Hi, I'm Joan Cartan-Hansen. Thank you for joining us for this Dialogue Web Extra. We're talking about the Technology Task Force recommendations. Let's go to our first caller, Sarah in Meridian. Sarah, go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
My question is this. I've heard a lot about talk about creativity with the teachers and things, but I have a child in school right now, and I don't want him to be sort of a guinea pig for a teacher who wants to be creative. I want to know what evidence-based programs they have that show that an online class is as effective as or more effective than a face-to-face teacher. They may exist, but I haven't heard anyone mention one.
Okay, well, I'm going to put you on hold so you can hear the answer.
Thank you.
What studies did you see? I've not actually found a study so far that shows that it's more effective than face-to-face classrooms. But it depends.
My personal experience in the classroom is, and online, I teach online, done that for several years now, is that about 25 to 35% of all the kids in the classroom I've had, and it hasn't changed much, are going to be successful no matter what. No matter what learning they get, no matter what experiences they're in, and you love those kids to death. The other ones you have to pull along, and so we do get kind of a bell curve type of thing where we have a different group of kids each year, but they all kind of fit in different places. So is online learning going to be effective for some? You bet. Is it better or more effectively with some? Of course. Is my way going to be as good as the other person? No. And so it'd be nice if we could have an IEP, an individual education plan for every student, and fit them with the perfect teacher and the perfect program. So the opportunity for an online class may be better for one student. Is it generally speaking better for everybody? You know, who's to say that? I wouldn't say that. And so the research is out there, and it can be skewed anyway because that's what research is for. I have not done a whole lot of research that way. My research is coming up with ways to instruct kids.
Can you understand how some parents may be concerned?
Sure.
That
No
this
question
is
about
because
it,
we
yeah.
really are kind of out
And
ahead of the
to be
curve.
honest, that's why we only have 2 of 45 credits that are online. So it's that's about less than 5% of the total requirement. But is this important? Yes. We need our students to understand how to learn online, because if you look at the business requirements today, you look at the U.S. Army, whoever it is, that's how they teach. And so it's important that our students learn that skill as well. But it's such a small percentage of the total requirement.
All right, thank you for your call. Let's go to our next caller, Terry in Glens Ferry. Terry.
Hello.
Hi, go ahead.
Hi, my question is, I'm on the school board, and we have put this to a vote for the board members. Do we go in the first round, the second round, or the third round? I was mostly for it, but then I've, received some feedback and some information that is a little bit alarming. So I just wondered what you felt. Should we put ourselves out there? We were first on board with some smart boards with a grant, so we felt like, we've succeeded very well with that, with a lot of achievement. So should we put ourselves out there once again and be first in line for the laptop?
For laptops. Oh, that's, yeah, school board member. I'm going to put you on hold so you can hear the answer.
I appreciate it.
Well, if you chose to be first in line, you'd be with the majority of the schools in the state. We've had an amazing response. The vast majority of the school districts in our state have said, yes, pick me. We have far too many than what we can satisfy today. But it is something that each school district needs to evaluate and determine whether they're ready for this. It is going to require some extra effort on their part, so they do need to seriously evaluate whether they're ready to take on this additional effort at this point in time.
Maybe what they look for is not so much do you have the physical capability to handle laptops, but are the teachers ready for it?
Yeah, the grant process, and you've written grants before, Terry, which is can be a grueling process, will really get you lined up for what you need, where you are, finding out all the different things, like you said. Are the teachers ready? Are the students ready? And going through that type of thing, I would consider it the same type of process. Do the research, find the most important questions, find the answers that best fit your area, and then say, if we're going to do this, here's our plan. And so you have a plan in place, just like writing a grant, which is a very valuable experience. I think everybody needs to go through that and see what it takes to earn money without having to pay for it, because it's a very tight process.
Some school districts they almost sounded like there would be a rebellion if their district was not picked in that first round. Parental discord was what the
was,
Idaho
it was.
Falls
I
School
think that
District
was
said. If we
one
don't
of-
get it, parents are going to be mad if we're not that first pick. When are they
it's
going to
nice.
announce?
It's exciting to have that response. I don't know when they're going to announce. That's the Department of Education that is reviewing that, and so I don't know when the announcement's going to be.
Okay, I've got to grab this next caller. Jonathan in Idaho Falls. Jonathan.
Hi, I have a whole bunch of questions, but
Well, we've got to pick one.
okay. I just want to know what kind of how they're thinking of paying for all the IT infrastructure, because there's a lot, and also what the liability of the students at school are when the kids are going to mess with the computers and do maybe malicious things, because they are.
Okay. Thank you. I'll put you on hold.
Yeah.
So let's take those two-part questions. So let's do the second one first. How are districts going to deal with kids who are smart and have figured out how to use computers inappropriately?
I think Superintendent Luna knows that. If he doesn't, then he's got to figure it out pretty quick. All school teachers know that, and there's ways that I get around it in my own classroom because I know kids are getting around it. So I'm going to visit every kid every class period. Is that going to be possible taking computers home? No. Are they going to be able to find ways to get around it? Of course. And so again, you have to have a plan in place and trust your professionals and have I would say a communication with the students and have a committee of students say, hey students, we need your help. What rules are going to help you? How can we monitor this yourself? And what are some of the things that are going to make it so that you have enough freedom so that you don't want to do those things? I think it's very valuable to include the students in any planning process, especially when there's going to be guidelines, because they're the ones following them. They need to have a little buy-in.
Now, there's tracking software as part of the plan to have that on the computer so you can track the software. Is there any concern that may be invading the privacy of the students as they take these computers with them in their world?
Well, there is, but one of the messages is that we've recommended be clear to the students that these devices are theirs to use like a textbook, but they don't own the computer. And that content, whatever it is, could be looked at. And so they need to clearly understand that, and it's stated in the AUP, and once they understand that, once students understand the rules, for the most part, they follow the rules.
Now, there's one school district, Becky, that got in trouble because they had a webcam on the camera on the computers, and they turned the webcam onto someone in the school district and was looking inside a student's private home. Are these computers going to have webcams on them? Do we know yet?
We don't know yet. We don't know yet.
Okay.
And if we do, then we'll have to have some appropriate policy behind that, which you highlight.
Do you? Can students bring their own laptops, or
that was a question that we really left up to the local districts to decide. Our recommendation is probably not, but that's really, we feel like that's a local decision that each district can make for themselves.
And I had one other question that came in via email. Does this mean the end of the textbook?
Well,
as we know it today, the book, because are our computers are they going to be online textbooks from now on?
Certainly I think a lot of the content will be delivered digitally. Will it be everything? I don't know. Who knows? But the value of digital content, with the fact that it could be real time, as opposed to a textbook, a history textbook, which is actually 10 years old. The benefits are significant.
Does any of this scare you? Does any of these changes ever just make you sit back and go, okay?
Well, the changes for the technology coordinator position I have, that part really scares me because the time it takes now to get people's web pages up now and getting their grade books going and stuff. So that part is intimidating more so. I don't use a textbook very often in my own classroom. There's opportunities that are available through the internet, not necessarily a textbook. If I were to use a textbook online, I would say it's the same as using a textbook in the classroom, and that's, to me personally, very dull and boring. And yes, you can do Cornell notes, and you can do it from any place and anywhere, so let's do something with content delivery, whether it's a textbook, whether it's notes and demos, whether it's research. So a textbook online, textbook in a book that's hard copy is about the same to me. I'm gonna look for ways that are gonna make sure kids get the information and that they appreciate and get it, but it may not be reading, and it could read on get your eyes burned out this way or get your eyes burned out this way. It's the same.
And I apologize, we need to get to Jonathan's first question, which was, is there funding for IT? Is there enough money to handle the IT side of it? Because you really have, by putting a lot of the computers in, you can't probably have a teacher in a school also being the IT person. It's going to be a full-time job. Is that is that going to be in the budget?
You know, we've put out the RFP, and those are some of the requirements that we've put in the RFP. The thinking was that whatever vendor comes to the plate here will be providing some of that back-end support as well. We've seen it work in other states. We're hopeful it'll work in Idaho, but we have to see with the results from this RFP.
And the other email I had on this was a concern that this keeps kids inside too much, that there's not, if you have computers, there's not enough hands-on, and there's not enough outdoor, getting kids outside of classroom.
That's always a concern for me. I go out of my own classroom in the hallway with the kids and apologize to my neighboring teachers all the time, and I think that's important. And yeah, that's something. I mean, if you're part of this technology generation and just you watch TV for 2 or 3 hours at a time, you've done the same thing. You've gathered information for 2 or 3 hours at a time. Your rear end is getting a whole lot of worked out with you know, not doing a whole lot. They're just sitting there on the couch. So do you have to work out other parts? Yes, and that's an essential part. And that's back to self-discipline with any student and any teacher. I'm going to make sure that I reach all the different ways of learning and teaching.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you. I appreciate you taking time to answer questions.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us for this Dialogue Web Extra.